Hello everyone. My name is Elizabeth Matson. I am the head of youth services at the Hedberg Public Library. I'm also a storyteller and the coach of the library's teen storytelling troupe, Them. And we have something really exciting for teens and adults coming up in November. On November 13th, we're going to have a Story Slam workshop. Now, a Story Slam is a very particular type of storytelling, and I have Sarah Beth Nelson here with me today. She is a storyteller and a Story Slam pro who is going to be teaching this workshop. So, Sarah Beth, tell me, what is a Story Slam all about? How is that a special kind of storytelling?
Sure. So there are a number of different story slams that happen across the country, but often they actually take place in bars. And they have volunteer storytellers. People put their name in a hat to tell, and so often the tellers are not professionals, not professional speakers even in any way. There's usually a theme for the evening that helps people come up with a story they might want to share. They are true personal stories. So you wouldn't find any folk or fairy tales at Story Slams. And then of course there's the competitive piece where there is some sort of judging. The tellers are scored or ranked, and there's a winner at the end of the evening. And I've noticed about this type of storytelling that often these events are creating sort of a brave space where both the teller and the audience members are willing to kind of take a risk and be vulnerable and risk being a little bit uncomfortable, which allows people to talk about things at Story Slams that you wouldn't hear at storytelling festivals. And I think that actually they're very empowering because they encourage people to tell their personal stories, and it really makes you feel like your story matters.
So what are you going to be teaching in the Story Slam workshop, since it won't be an actual Story Slam?
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about some, like what we've just been talking about, what Story Slams are, and maybe where the teens could find some Story Slams to attend in person or even virtually. A lot of slams are still taking place online right now. And then we'll be working on crafting a personal story that will get started, and then the teens can keep working on it, and they'll have a chance to actually perform their stories the next week.
Yes, we will have an open mic, not limited to storytelling, but definitely if you attend the workshop, it will be an opportunity to share what you've been working on or something else, another skill or talent that you want to share. Now, they say that speaking in public is most people's number one fear. So why would somebody want to go to this workshop if they aren't interested in actually performing in public?
Well, the way to get past a fear like that is by doing it, but it's a lot nicer to do it in front of a friendly audience. So coming to a workshop like this one, everyone is going to be warm and welcoming and supportive. And I would say even going to these Story Slam events, some people might find it a little off-putting that it's a competition, but the audiences there too tends to be very warm and welcoming and accepting of all people and all stories. So it is a more comfortable place to practice public speaking than some other public speaking opportunities that you might have.
And who would be interested in this kind of workshop, do you think? We're opening it to teens and to adults, besides people who are already interested in storytelling. Are there other ways people could use these skills?
Yeah, being able to, we'll have public speaking skills is important in so many areas of life. And also being able to tell your personal story That's a skill that you'll need in job interviews. If you're in some sort of leadership position, you need to know how to sell yourself. So you need to have some stories that you can tell about yourself that make you look good or help illustrate particular aspects of your personality. It's good to have these stories that show that you have agency, which is one of the things that I'd like to talk about in the workshop, is telling the story with agency, where you're not just telling a story where things have happened to you, but where you take action. You respond to the things that have happened, or maybe you made a mistake and then you had to try and fix it. And those are especially powerful stories, in the workplace, if you're in a leadership position, to help people get to know you and why they should listen to you, why they should follow your leadership. And then just for ordinary people, if they think they might want to go and try telling a story or just go to a slam to listen, there's a lot of opportunity to connect. Listening to other people's personal stories makes you feel like you're kind of less alone in the world, that other people have life struggles that are similar to your life struggles. And I really think that this type of storytelling is the antidote to social media. Because we go on social media and people are often putting kind of their best face forward. They're putting pictures of all these awesome things that they're doing, and you can feel kind of bad of, why isn't my life that awesome? But you go to story slams, and often people tell very real stories about things that did not go right. And it makes you realize that, they're dealing with the same kind of stuff that you're dealing with, and you're not alone, and you can make connections with these people.
Those are some great ways to get people thinking about this story slam. I wonder if you could also give us a sample of a kind of story that you have told at a story slam.
Sure, I would be happy to. I want to start by assuring you that everyone in this story is going to be okay. My 6th grade social studies teacher put the entire class into groups of 3. She assigned each group a famous historical person to research, and she said at the end of the week we would have to do some sort of presentation about what we had learned. I was in a group with 2 boys. We were assigned Abraham Lincoln, and we decided pretty early on that we were going to present our research through an interview with Lincoln. So one of the boys in the group would portray Lincoln, I was going to be the interviewer, and the other boy in the group was not going to be in the presentation, but that was okay with us and the teacher as long as he contributed in other ways to the project, and it was okay with him because he was kind of shy and quiet and did not want to talk in front of the class. Well, as the week went on, I came down with a cold, and I was still going to school. I never let a cold stop me from going to school. But as the days passed, I was getting sicker and sicker, and by Thursday, those 2 boys in my group were looking at me and going, "Are you sure you're gonna be here for the presentation tomorrow?" And especially the one boy who was not going to be speaking in the presentation, he was very concerned, because if I didn't show up, he would have to take over my role as the interviewer. And I said, yeah, I'll be here, don't worry about it. And they said, "I don't know, you look really sick. I think you're gonna be homesick tomorrow." And I finally said, "Look, I promise you, I will be here tomorrow unless I'm dead." And then they believed me. Well, sure enough, I woke up on Friday morning and I was sicker than ever. I had laryngitis. My voice wasn't totally gone. I could still croak out some words. And I had a low fever. I felt just terrible. But I knew that my teammates and my teacher and my parents, they all expected me to go to school anyway because I promised that I would. So I got on the school bus and I rested my hot forehead against the cool glass of the window, and I was watching the world go by. And the bus was approaching this 4-way stop that we went through every day. But on this particular day, as I looked out the window, it looked to me like the bus was going to run into the car that was stopped at the four-way stop. And I thought, no, that can't be right. The bus driver must know something I don't know, or maybe there's some sort of optical illusion because I'm looking out the side of the bus, or maybe I'm delirious because of the fever. And then sure enough, the bus did run into the back of that car. And it was a low-speed accident. No one was injured. There was very minimal damage to the vehicles. But still, it was an accident, and so the bus and the car both pulled off to the side of the road, and we had to wait for the police officers to come. And then all of us students stayed on the bus while the bus driver got off to talk to the police. And after a while, the bus driver got back on the bus and finished driving us to school. Well, of course, by this time, we were late. School had started. And then we were made even later because the front office had to check all of us in. And so by the time I got to my classroom, it was pretty far into the morning. And my two teammates looked like they were seeing a ghost. Because I told them the only way I wouldn't be at school that day was if I was dead. And school had started and I wasn't there. So they kind of thought I was dead. But I said, no, it's okay. I was just in a bus accident. And I participated in our presentation as promised, and everybody was happy. Well, that evening at the dinner table, I started telling my mom and sister about what had happened because I thought the whole thing was kind of funny. So I started in, hey, you know how yesterday I told those two boys in my group that the only way I wouldn't be at school today was if I was dead? And my mom said, okay. And I said, well, so I was riding the school bus this morning, and my mom could already tell that something bad was coming, and she interrupted me. Tell me that everyone is okay. And I ignored her. So, you know that four-way stop that we go through every day? Sarah, tell me everyone is okay. So we were coming up to that four-way stop, and there was a car there already. Sarah, tell me that everyone is okay. I said, Mom, let me tell the story my way. And my mom and I still have a good laugh about this. I guess even back then I was a storyteller. I wanted to carefully craft my story and build suspense. And also, it was kind of funny. My mom was so worried. The end of the story was already given away. I was sitting there at the dinner table, so nothing too terrible could have happened that morning on the bus. And then also, I think it's kind of funny, my mom wanted me to reassure her. Everyone was okay after whatever happened with the bus. But I wasn't okay before I got on the bus that morning. I had a fever and laryngitis, and I had this crazy idea that I really had to show up anyway because people were counting on me. Now, I told you at the beginning that everyone was going to be okay, and it's true. I am okay. Now, as an adult, I am married, I have kids, I'm an assistant professor at a university, I'm on boards and committees. There are a lot of people who count on me to show up no matter what. Some of them would probably expect me to show up even if I was sick and in a bus accident. But I have to tell you that every once in a while, I take a day off. And I'm not even dead. The end.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, Sarah Beth. And I hope you will join us for her Story Slam workshop on November 13th. It's 2 to 4 p.m. on that Saturday, and registration is required. Thanks for joining us.